What's up, everybody? It's Necro Ninja here, and I'm back. You might have noticed that I've taken a little bit of a break, but I am back, and we are making videos again, and we are going to continue our raid guide series. The goal is to get all of these raid guides done before the final shape comes out, so I gotta get cracking. And today, we're gonna learn how to do Vow of the Disciple. But before we begin, if you like the content and you probably learned something, maybe, I don't know, make sure you go ahead and click that like and subscribe button down below. Your support is greatly appreciated, and it just makes me feel good, and I love you. Anyways, without further ado, let's get into the video. Alright, so this very first part is very simple. If you guys have done the preservation mission at all, this is going to look very familiar because that is exactly what this is. If you've never done the preservation mission, let me give you a quick rundown of what is going to be happening. So when you spawn in, you're going to run forward towards the door and you're going to fight a copy of Savathun real quick. Door's going to open and you guys are going to take your sparrows and fly all the way down to the payload. Once you get to the payload, 3 abominations are going to spawn with a bunch of ads. You're going to notice that while you are not standing next to the payload, you're going to start getting stacks of darkness. If these stacks hit 10, you're going to die. To clear the stacks, stand next to the payload. What you're going to want to do is you're going to want to take out 3 of the abominations, all 3 of them. Once you do that, the pervading darkness debuff will stop. And then you're going to notice these collectibles that are called knowledge. What you're going to want to do is pick up 3 knowledge. That's the maximum you can hold at a time. Run it to the payload and deposit it. Just by getting near it, it'll suck it up. Collect all the knowledge in the area, and then the payload will move on to the next part, and then it's just a rinse and repeat until you get to the end. Now, unlike the preservation mission, there is a secret chest in this area. I will show you that right now. All right, on to the first encounter, acquisition. All right, before we begin learning this encounter, I would like to let you guys know that there are a lot of symbols that you might have to memorize. I'm gonna put up a whole picture right here. This is the list of symbols, basically. You guys can screenshot this or whatever you'd like. You don't have to memorize them all right away. If you have this up, you can look at it at any time. It's very helpful. Alright, so when you come into this room, the first thing you're going to see is a giant totem. And then in front of that totem, you're going to see a smaller totem. The smaller totem is what I like to call the map. So that's what we're going to differentiate these from. We have the big totem and then the map. Now, the goal of this encounter is to turn the totems off. To do that, we need to find 3 specific symbols and then shoot them at the same time. To find those specific symbols, we need to read the map. Well, Necro, how do we read the map? Don't worry, I got you. Looking at the map, you can see that there's going to be 3 symbols on the map. And another thing that you're going to want to notice is that the room is divided into 2 halves. If you turn around and you look at this big wall thing in the middle, you're going to see that there is the traveler symbol and the pyramid symbol. That is indicating that half of the room is the traveler's half, and the other half is the pyramid's half. Now back to the map. When you're reading the map, the very first symbol is either going to be traveler or pyramid. What this is indicating is that there is going to be a taken knight that spawns. It is going to spawn either on the traveler side or the pyramid side. So whatever you see, that is where the knight's going to be. There are specific locations for it, but you'll figure that out as you do the raid. After you guys hunt down the knight and kill it, the next symbol will appear on your map. Now, if you've taken a look around the room a little bit, you will see that there are symbols above doors. These are what I like to call dungeons. The map is going to show a symbol of one of the dungeons. That is the dungeon that you need to run into. If the door is closed, there's a little darkness crux that you started the encounter with that you can shoot, and it'll open the door. Once you pass the threshold of the door, the third and final symbol will appear. Now this third and final symbol is either going to be the light symbol or the darkness symbol, because inside of the dungeon, the room is split again into two separate halves. You're going to have the light side and the dark side. Two Scorn Glyph Keepers are going to spawn, one on each side. You need to kill the appropriate one according to the map, and once you do, it is going to drop a symbol. That symbol you need to memorize. Shout it out to your team, type it out, write it down. You need to remember that symbol. Now we're going to do this for the other two maps until we have a total of 3 symbols that we had to memorize. Once we've gathered all 3 symbols, we are going to look at each totem and we're going to look for those symbols. Do note that the totem holds 9 different symbols. You're looking for 3. There's going to be 1 of each on each side of the totem. Rule of thumb, if you see one side of the totem and you don't see any of the 3 symbols that were called out, written down, or memorized, that totem is not the one you need to shoot. Go look at another totem. Once you find the totem that has the 3 symbols on it, shoot the symbols and then turn the totem off. You need to shoot them at the same time. Once the totem is off, you do not have to worry about it anymore. However, you still have to defend it, but you don't have to worry about turning it off. Now, the best method here is to split the team up into 3 different teams of 2. You'll have one person who is doing all the running around. You have one person who is doing the defending of the totem. You need to defend the totem from the yellow bar Scorn. It will come down and they will start shooting the little bell at the top of the totem. You'll notice that this is all on a timer. There's going to be yellow liquid that starts filling up the totem. Once it hits the top, it's going to be a wipe. When the yellow bar Scorn are shooting the totem, it is going to increase that time and make it go faster. So it is key to get rid of those guys, prioritize those guys first if you are the defender. Another thing to note is that there will be unstoppable ogres that appear. Make sure you have something that can handle that. You don't want to get caught out by an unstoppable ogre as you're trying to defend that totem. So you're going to want to rinse and repeat this process until you've cleansed all 3 totems, and once you do, the encounter's over and we can move on. All right, moving on to the second encounter, we have the big old baby Caretaker. There are going to be 3 floors to this encounter. As you go up, there's less floor, so just remember that, keep that in mind. The higher you go, the less floor there is. Here, we're gonna wanna split the team up again into 3 different teams. We're gonna have a running team, an ad clear team, and a stunning team. Start with the easy job, ad clear. All you're gonna do is protect the totem right there in the middle. Do not let the yellow bar Scorn go ahead and shoot that and cause a wipe. You're gonna wanna make sure that the stun team is clear of ads so they can do what they need to do. So just slay. Now for stun team. The 2 of you are going to stun Caretaker. Make sure that he does not reach the totem. If he reaches the totem, it's gonna be a wipe. The better you are at stunning, the longer the running team has to get done what they're doing. To stun Caretaker, you're going to want to bait out a slam. His face is going to turn yellow, and then you're going to want to shoot him in the face. The other person is then going to shoot him in the backpack, and that will stun him. You're going to notice that there are spicy meatballs, bees, whatever you want to call them, flying out of his backpack. You're going to want to shoot those as well when you have a little bit of downtime when he's stunned. If they hit a critical mass, a couple things could happen. They could hit the totem. They can add the darkness stacks to it. They can also come flying at you and annihilate you, and trust me, they hurt when they hit. But basically that is your whole job. Stun Caretaker. Just do that over and over and over again. Bad clear's doing their job. You do not have to worry about any ads, just Caretaker and the spicy meatballs that come out of his backpack. Next, we have running team. There is going to be a room that is right behind the totem. You're gonna shoot a crux, the door is gonna open. We're gonna wanna send 1 person in at a time. While you're in this room, you're gonna gather stacks of pervading darkness. If you hit 10, you're gonna die. When you come into this room, you're gonna notice a couple things. The first thing you're probably going to notice is that there are a couple wizards. Don't even bother fighting these guys. They have a lot of health, and it's just not worth it. Avoid them. Second thing you're going to notice is that there are knowledges that, just like in the very beginning there when you open the first door, however, these knowledges have symbols above them. Like before, you could only pick up 3. What you're going to want to do is pick up 3. Remember the symbols, call them out if you have to, write them down, whatever, but pick up 3 symbols. Have your partner shoot the crux again to open the door, and then you're gonna come on out. Then what you're gonna need to do is go to the totem, find those 3 symbols that you just picked up, and shoot them on the totem. Once you shoot all 3 of them, they will disappear from the totem, and then now it is your partner's turn to go into the room. Goal here is to clear all 9 symbols on the totem to turn it off. They're gonna rotate between you and your partner, going back and forth, so that your stacks of darkness can disappear while they're running, so you don't, die. If you're having a hard time finding symbols, especially on like floor number 2 or floor number 3, you can go ahead and just grab as many as you can, 1 or 2, even at best, and then come on out. It is better to just cleanse a symbol than it is to die with the knowledge. Once the totem is cleansed, it is time for damage. You're going to notice that there are 3 plates around the totem. Depending on whatever side Caretaker decided to walk up on when Stun Team was stunning him, whether the left or the right, that is where you're going to start on the first plate. After a short while, the plate is going to illuminate yellow, and then you are able to do damage to Caretaker. After a little bit of damage, the light will fade away, and then you'll just move on to the next plate. Do some more damage, light will fade away, and move on to the third plate. Once all 3 plates are used, a staircase will drop down, and then you will move up to the 2nd floor. And then it's just a rinse and repeat. Ad clear will do their ad clearing, stun team will do the stunning, running team will do the running. Do this until you get to final stand. So I lied when I said there was only 3 floors. There's actually another floor. When you hit final stand, a final staircase is going to drop down on the 3rd floor. You're going to run up to it, and you're going to see the 3 plates like you've been doing damage on lined up in a row. Caretaker's right at the end. Just do what you've been doing. Stand on the plate when it's lit up. Do damage. When that plate fades, move on to the next one. Do some more damage. Then move on to the next one and do some more damage. Hopefully you don't have to use all 3 plates, because if you don't kill Caretaker by the time that 3rd plate ends, it's a wipe. But if you did kill Caretaker, congratulations. You beat the 2nd encounter and we're moving on. So after Caretaker, there is a little jumping puzzle. And by little, I mean an annoying jumping puzzle. You'll have to shoot a crux to extend platforms and then make your way up to the 3rd encounter. There is a secret chest in this area, and I'm going to show you how to get to it right now. All right, time for the 3rd encounter, the Upended, or as I like to call it, Trinkets. Now, there is a lot going on in this encounter, so bear with me here. The very first thing you're probably going to notice is the nut, or the crux, but we call it the nut. The nut shoots a laser beam. That laser beam is useful because it is going to break a shield of an enemy that you can't otherwise break unless you shoot it with that. You're going to notice that there's a door in front of you. And there's going to be 6 blacked out symbols next to by the door. When you pick up the nut, 2 glyph keepers are going to spawn. A scorned glyph keeper on the left and a taken glyph keeper on the right. You'll need to kill both of them. Once they die, they're going to drop a set of 3 symbols each. Anybody who is not holding a relic can see what the scorned glyph keeper dropped. Anybody who is holding a relic can see what the taken glyph keeper dropped. What you'll need to do is compare and contrast and find the symbol that matches both. Once you figure out what symbol is the same from both sets, you will look at the door and then you will shoot that symbol and it will open the door. This is the practice room. After you've opened the door, that is when the real encounter starts. Important to note that this encounter is timed, so you have to go fast. From this point on, inside each of the next rooms, you're going to be gaining stacks of pervading darkness. Like always, if you hit 10 stacks, you're going to die. When you get into the next little safety room, what you're going to want to do is take the nut and place it back into one of the holders. Once you put the nut down, you're going to see that you have a debuff. With this debuff, you cannot pick up another relic. Oh yes, there are more relics than just the nut in this encounter. Once you put the nut in the holder, the Aegis shield is going to spawn in the other holder opposite of it. At this point, we'll need 2 other people to pick up these relics. One person pick up the nut and one person pick up the shield. The shield's job is to cleanse people of pervading darkness. By holding the block button and going over to your teammates, you'll create a nice little bubble, and then it will cleanse your teammates of the darkness so they don't die. Your job is to bounce back and forth, cleansing everybody as you can. When you get into the second room, you're going to want to split up, have some people go to the left and some people go to the right. Clear ads until you get the first set of glyph keepers to spawn. Take them out, find which symbol is the same, and then move forward. The person holding the nut will need to go and find special shielded enemy and kill that enemy, because that special shielded enemy is going to extend your timer so you have more time to figure out the symbols. Moving forward, you will need to find 2 symbols instead of 1. That's why we call it the practice room, because it's just basically showing you what you need to do. After clearing some more ads, 2 more glyph keepers are going to spawn. Kill them, figure out what symbol is the same, and then find the door. Shoot both symbols at the same time and the door will open. And then you'll move on to the next safety room. Deposit both the nut and the shield. Once you do that, you're going to notice that we have a 3rd relic. It is the Eye of Riven from Last Wish. This relic's job is to cleanse blights that are spawning throughout the area. These blights will prevent damage on enemies. So you're going to need to cleanse the blight so that you can damage enemies. They're going to be placed in specific locations where the glyph keepers spawn so that they're protecting the glyph keepers, so you're going to want to make sure that you get those cleansed right away. What you're going to want to do, again, split the team, have half the team go left, have half the team go right. Aegis shield, you're going to want to be bouncing back and forth between the 2 teams, cleansing them. There is kind of a little cheeky spot on the left side where if you hug the wall, you won't get any pervading darkness. You can use this to your advantage if you'd like, or you could do it the right way. That's up to you. Generally, when we do this, we want to send the nut holder to the opposite side that the blight holder is going. To determine what side the blight needs to go, when you come into the 3rd room, you will see the first blight. If the first blight is closest to the door that you came through, blight holder will need to go left and the nut holder will need to go right. If the blight is further from the room, you will need to send it the opposite way. Blight holder will need to go right, nut will need to go left. The reason why you want to split both relics up is because you want to be guaranteed that there's somebody who could read the taken symbols if that taken symbol is on that side. It's pretty much just a rinse and repeat. Move forward, kill the glyph keepers, find the same symbols, make sure you kill the shielded enemy to extend your time, move forward, kill the next set of glyph keepers, get the symbol, shoot them on the door, run through, deposit your relics. Then you'll just need to do this one final time in the next room. This room's a little bit more tricky because there's really no floor. They like to make it harder by removing floor, but it's just a rinse and repeat. Kill the glyph keepers, get the symbols, kill a shielded enemy to extend your time, move forward, make sure the shield is cleansing everybody, and then once you're done, shoot both of the symbols on the door, opens the door, go on through and deposit all of your relics, and you're done. This encounter is probably where most LFG groups are going to get stuck because it requires coordination and patience, and there's no dedicated ad clear. Everyone has to do a job. Probably why this is my favorite encounter of the entire raid. All right, now on to the final encounter, big old Daddy Rhulk. When we get here, we're going to want to assign a couple roles. We're going to need 2 holders, 2 dunkers, a reader, and an ad clear. When we start the encounter, 2 things are going to happen. Rhulk is going to make a giant force field. If you try jumping through the force field, it will push you. If you keep trying to jump through the force field, it will throw you off the map. The next thing he's going to do is going to create a giant crystal above his head. Now, there are a few things that you have to keep an eye out here for. Out into the battlefield, you're going to see 6 different maps. We're going to call these L1, L2, L3, R1, R2, R3. Next, you're going to notice that there is a big symbol on the floor. What you're going to want to do is have holder number 1 stand on that symbol and shoot the first giant crystal. When you do, it is going to split the crystal into 2, one on the left, one on the right. If you are a dunker, you will always shoot the left crystal. If you are a holder, you will always shoot the right crystal. Shooting a crystal and breaking it is going to give you a buff called leeching. There's a timer on it. If it hits 0, you're gonna die. To get rid of the buff, you will need a dunker to shoot the left crystal and your partner holder to shoot the right crystal. This will split the leeching buff off of you onto them. So now one dunker has leeching and your partner holder also has leeching. Once you lose leeching, you can step off the plate and your partner can then again step on the plate, which will create 2 more crystals. At this point, dunker number 2 is going to shoot the left crystal, and then holder number 1 will then shoot the right crystal, splitting it again. So now that both dunkers have leeching, one holder has leeching. What you'll need to do is you're going to need to kill 2 glyph keepers. There's going to be a taken one on the left and a scorn on the right. Kill both of them, and then do what you did in Trinkets. Find the matching symbol, and then tell the reader what the matching symbol is. If you have the leeching buff, you can read the taken symbol. If you don't, you can read the scorn symbol. Once you figure out what symbol is the same, the reader is then going to look out into the sea of maps, the 6 maps there in the battlefield, and he's going to find the 2 maps that have that symbol on it. You'll then relay that information to the dunkers. While this is all happening, Rhulk is going to be teleporting from left, middle, and right, and he's going to be shooting a beam. The dunkers, once they have the leeching buff, will need to stand inside that beam that he is firing to transform the leeching buff into the emanating buff. It's very important that the holders do not get the emanating buff. If Rhulk decides that he's going to shoot down the middle, hop off of the plate and get away from the laser. Do not, if you are a holder, do not get emanating. With the emanating buff, you can pass through the force field unharmed, no bouncing around. You will need to take the emanating buff and dunk it into the maps that the reader had called out for you. Once you do this, the force field will recede a little bit, and now everybody can push forward. You're gonna want to rinse and repeat this until the force field is gone. Do note you don't have to get another symbol. That symbol will stay the same. You won't have to kill another set of glyph keepers or anything unless you mess up. If you mess up, then you will have to do it. You get 1 freebie. He gives you 1 freebie. After that, it's a wipe. After you've done this process 3 times, because you have to dunk 6 maps, Rhulk will invite you up to his wrestling ring, where he will decide to kickbox the shit out of you. Here, you're going to notice that there are 4 more maps, 1 in each corner. The left side will be Traveler, L1, Pyramid, L2. Right side will be Light, R1, Darkness, R2. At some point, when Rhulk's done kicking the crap out of you, he's going to do a little dash, and he'll drop his staff. When he drops the staff, somebody will need to shoot the staff and break it. Once that is broken, the person who broke it will get leeching, and then for everybody else, you're going to see a symbol. Let that person know what that symbol is. Rhulk will then shoot out some beams. Just like down below, you're going to want to step in the beam if you have leeching. If you don't have leeching, don't stand in the beam. It's going to hurt. You're going to want to get emanating and then take that emanating buff and then dunk it on the symbol that was called out to you. Once you do that, a leech is then going to spawn on Rhulk. Once that leech spawns on it, everybody can shoot that leech and pop it. You need to do this 4 times. Pop 4 leeches. After popping 4 leeches, Rhulk gets enraged and he is damageable. Since he moves around a lot, I wouldn't recommend precision weaponry. Possibly rocket launchers is good. Linear fusion rifle if you feel like you can hit your shots. I'd prefer not getting close to him with shotguns or swords, but you do you. After a short time of DPS, he is going to start building back up his force field. What you're going to want to do when he becomes immune is to run like hell down the stairs back to the start area, because he's going to form that force field again, and if you are still around, it is going to throw you off the map. So run for your life. Don't worry about ammo, just keep going. And then you're just going to rinse repeat this process until Rhulk is dead. Well, not dead. He's going to hit Final Stand first, but in Final Stand it's basically the same thing. He's just going to be real angry, and you're going to want to unload everything you have into him. The difference is that in Final Stand, you're going to slowly gain stacks of Pervading Darkness and just like, you know, every other time, if you hit 10 stacks, you die. So you want to kill Rhulk before everybody hits 10 stacks. If you successfully kill Rhulk, you're done. You did the raid. Congratulations. Vow of the Disciple is done. And that's it. I want to thank you guys for taking the time out of your day to watch this video. I do appreciate it. And I will see you guys in the next one. Have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.